I really thought I'd be in some kind of routine by now. Not perfect, just a little bit more settled than what we are. I kind of expected some sort of rhythm, like me time early in the morning, kids' education later the rest of the morning, going out, seeing things, learning as we go in the afternoon, and then normal bedtimes, and then me time again at night, like what it was back in the UK. But it's not like that yet. And the reality is, it feels unsettled. Like every week is another small reset. So, this is about giving permission to what is expectation versus reality. And I just want to show you how I'm working with that. So, welcome. My name's Carrie, and this channel is all about mindful living, my mindful living with myself, my family, and doing what we're doing, which is we've literally just left the UK to travel full time as a family. So I'm documenting that along with life and how I'm living mindfully as I go. So you're very welcome here. So yeah, we left, getting on for 3 weeks now. So it's very early days. You can see the kind of person I am. I'm quite impatient, and I work a lot with that using my mindfulness. But what I expected to happen was we had a week in Kuala Lumpur and then we moved on to Penang after that. And I expected that first week in Kuala Lumpur to be the reset. And after that, the jet lag, we'd get over the time difference, the jet lag, the weather, all in that week. And then we'd be back into routine like we were at home, just in a different country by the second week. That was what I thought. Unrealistic. Probably. It seemingly is unrealistic. Yeah, I just thought the jet lag wouldn't take that long. But someone said it takes an hour. For every hour of time difference, it takes a day to get over it. And I think that's true. There's an 8-hour difference here from Kuala Lumpur back to the UK. And I would say it took about 8 days just to get over that jet lag, that time difference, that kind of recalibration. But there's been something else amiss, and I've spoken to hubby about this. It's like I'm not regretting what we've done at all. I'm not missing home, but I'm not sort of really in this life either, where we are. It really is this transition period and working with expectation versus reality. And I've said a lot about expectation on my videos before. It's almost a bit controlling, isn't it? If we expect things to go a certain way, we want to control it. We want to control other people. We want to control life. And I find myself stuck in that expectation and reality quite a lot. That's a bit of a trigger. It's a bit of a pattern for me. And I noticed that using mindfulness. So that was sort of what I was expecting, to just get over it all within a week. Why hasn't it worked? It feels a bit flat. It feels like we're just, like I say, in this transition. But why hasn't it? I don't know. Why specifically the routines haven't worked is probably a lot to do with the heat. My kids are early birds. They used to be 6 o'clock. It's gone on to like 7. But here, people, because of the heat and the temperature, people go out later in the day and they stay out late at night. So I'm videoing this first thing in the morning, like 7 o'clock. It's quiet. No one gets up. I've videoed down at the beach. You can actually cross the road. Normally that road is just, you're taking your life in your own hands. It's not that bad. So yeah, I think the heat has a lot to do with it, because my kids they are still actually getting up at relatively normal time, maybe 8 o'clock. But they're going to bed a lot later, like 10. And my youngest will copy my eldest, a 5 and 9-year-old. So getting them to bed is really hard. And literally what's been working has been going out, doing things, seeing things. Like last night, they were in the pool till 8 o'clock. And then they just go straight to sleep. But that means then that we don't have our time of a night, because I like to go to bed early and get up early in the morning to have my time. So there's little time for me and hubby. So that feels a bit disconnected. It feels a bit disjointed. It doesn't feel like we're in this rhythm. And it's something like I'm fighting it because I'm not in control of it. And I'm aware of that. Something that has felt very familiar and is seemingly starting to work is world schooling groups. Now, I mentioned this in my last video that we've already met some world schooling groups. So we met one of the groups on our first week in Kuala Lumpur, which was great. And then they give us a group for Penang, like the contact details for the Penang WhatsApp group. And that is so active. It is amazing. They meet up Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And we met up on Saturday, which was just a meet up down the promenade, down by the harbour. They've got so many good outside spaces here, the third spaces that they call them. The promenade is amazing. There's a park there, and it's all right by the shopping centre, the malls. So we went down there, met them, had a good chat. It was like 4:30 again. It's like in the afternoon because it's of the heat. So it was like 4:30 till 7:30, maybe a little bit later by the time we left, just as it was getting dark. And yeah, it was really nice. So then we agreed to meet Monday, which was yesterday. And that was in a little coffee shop. And we pretty much took over this coffee shop. And this coffee shop was brilliant. It was all the way around on the walls were books that you could rent out. You didn't even have to have a card. Like, you could just get these books and bring them back next time. Put them on the shelf yourself when you bring them back. It's all like labelled up like a library, but you don't need a pass. It's so honest here, you know? Like, Richard's like, oh, we haven't checked these books out. I said, we don't have to. It says on the sign, we don't need to. And he's like, I can't get my head around this, how honest everybody is. But it was so nice. And then they played, there's a park opposite there. There's a park opposite this cafe. So some of them went out there. It was really hot. So a lot came back. And then they played this, like, it was like a detective game, actually. So it was all sat down, but they played a detective game. One of the mums took charge of that. And we just talked amongst ourselves. And there was newbies that had just gone that time for the first time like us. There was also regulars. And there were people that had left for a number of months to go home and come back, because Penang is such a hub for world schoolers and people doing things like this. A lot of people stay here and rent for a full year and keep it as their base, and then hop out and do the travelling or go home and come back to fit the visa requirements. Yeah. So it was lovely to see them, and they've got another meet on Wednesday, which is some youth park, which I think is like a splash park or something. So we're going to go to that too. So that has felt really good. Now, back where I'm from in Cumbria, when we first started home educating, the home education scene was thriving. It was busy. There was lots going on, and we worked our sit-down work around all these meetups. So we made sure we got the socialisation, the connection with other families. But it dwindled out. And I think the big thing was commitment. Families weren't committed to show up every week. And how can you get real connection? How can you make friends if you're not showing up every week? If you don't show up every week, then how can you open up and be vulnerable and make connections with people? How can you feel safe around that person if they're just showing up every now and again? And that's what I was finding back home. But here, so far, I mean, it's early days, but so far here in Penang, in Malaysia, the World Schooling Group is phenomenal. Like, it really is. And to just be able to chat with people that have actually done this really big, scary thing that we've done. There was another turning point where it was on Sunday, I believe, and we had sort of a bit of a lazy early morning. I don't get up and do anything. I don't have my time early on a Sunday, but I did do some journaling on the balcony. And then we came down to this pool. So we haven't actually been around this pool a lot. It's a quieter pool. It's right by our block. The main one is outside, up the parking lot and on top of the parking lot. So that's where most people go. It's a bigger pool. It's louder. But this has some, behind here, there's some working spaces. So on Sunday, I did a bit of journaling on the balcony. We came down here. The kids were in the pool. I was here with hubby doing some work on my laptop. And I was like, that's what I imagined this to be. You know, real life, getting on with work, watching the kids having fun. And then we went out and found the night market. And it was a funny because we'd stopped and had something to eat in this place. And then we were trying to cross this road and carry on walking down the street. And there's loads of cars coming up and down this street that we were trying to cross, loads of people walking down. And I was like, there's something going on down there. Shall we take a look? And he's like, yeah, all right. And we carried on walking down, and it was just a few like more eating places, bars. And we walked down, and he's like, oh, there's nothing happening down here. Let's go back. And I was like, no, I think there's more going on. Let's keep walking down here for a little bit longer. We got down there, and it was a fire performance show on the beach with a massive strip of more bars and restaurants. And we just stood on this beach, didn't have to pay. Obviously, you can give donations, but we watched this fire show, and the kids were amazing. My eldest Jasmine loves dragons. She was like a real dragon because these men are blowing fire and all sorts. And it was like, wow, like my instinct was like, let's go down here. And we found that something really amazing. So Sunday, I think, was quite a turning point for me in that it felt like we'd maybe started to land. I could see how life could be. It wasn't so flat anymore. So I can see how it's turning. I think it's just early days right now. Because routine does take time, doesn't it? It has literally, we're coming up for 3 weeks. It's early days. I'm fighting my expectation. I'm fighting my need for routine. And I'm aware of that, and I'm working on that. Do we need routine? I've done a video on that before. To-do lists, we live in them. I used to live in them. I think we need to have a little bit of flexibility around it. You know, for me, yes, I do feel like I need routine. I've tried not having it. I've tried it and I just don't like it. I think it's about knowing yourself and working with that. I'm a morning person. I've also tried doing night stuff, not having a routine. It gives me the ick. For me, I'm an early bird and I like routine. And I'm learning to be flexible with it. I'm learning to, if routine doesn't go to plan, okay, I accept that, you know. So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on routine? Do you need it? Is it a help? Is it a hindrance? What do you think? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on routines and expectation and the need to be in control. I think it's quite a big topic, especially now when we've got so much on in our lives. I think I'll revisit this in another few weeks and do another video on it to just see how I've settled, maybe in a month or so, and just see how we're settling in a few more weeks. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.